I am in Burlington, Ontario, where I was raised, and that is where someone who is a little bit better at baseball than I am, Owen Caissie, was born and raised. He went to Notre Dame High School, Notre Dame, and I actually went to the same high school. It's a very crazy world, very small world. It's so funny. He's 6'5", this ginger kid, Irish last, Owen Caissie, very iconic kind of guy. I feel like if this kid was in, the Northeast or Texas or one of these baseball hotbeds, his experience in high school would have been a lot different because here it's hockey, and then some more hockey. So, but he's about to change. He's about to go through some changes because now he's in the baseball rabid, the rabidest fans, some of them, the Chicago Cubs organization. And this kid, I'm hearing that he's got possibly, after Junior Caminero, the most power in all of the minors. He might have the most power. I heard it's up there. There are some metrics behind this. I'm going to be bad on metrics today because, as you can tell, I'm using my phone. But this kid, yeah, he's launching bombs after bombs. I think this is a good place for him, actually. Sometimes, the model has some funny rankings. You're not sure. Is that sample size? What is this? With Owen Caissie, I mean, he might even be in the top 10 now for me. He's going to be ramping up and launching to the top of rankings this spring. I think you're going to see it. And I don't know. I could see Mr. Owen Caissie maybe getting a cup of coffee by the end of this year. I mean, he's 20 years old in Double-A. Is that correct? I mean,
that's hot. That's a hot
these
take,
days.
Man.
These days, it's like, I don't think he's going to start. I don't think he's anywhere close to ready for the start of the year, personally. But I think you're going to want him revved up so he can give you a chance at that compensation pick, right? So the way things are set up now, I think it's just you're going to see more guys go from Double-A to the hop. So anyway, I guess I had a thought or two about that.
That was a fantastic introduction. I'm going to bounce back just a little bit. Here we are. We got Owen Caissie, and he's with a Double-A affiliate with the Chicago Cubs. He's 6'5", is what Doc says. But MILB says 6'3", 190 pounds. They're wrong. Doc's right. He's age 21, born Burlington, Ontario, Canada. Drafted round 2, pick 45. Went to high school Notre Dame, Burlington, Ontario. His stats this year in 2023 look as 439 at bats, 289 average, on base of 398, slugging 519 with an OPS of 917, 22 home runs, 7 stolen bases. An odd thing is he got caught stealing 9 times, 164 strikeouts, 76 walks, 31 doubles, 2 triples. Well, we all know Doc's opinion here. He loves Caissie.
I'll give you one knock on him, and it's the knock we all know. First of all, I'm going to say the steals, the guy that big, whatever. I don't think it's going to keep happening. But I think, and maybe you or Ross want to pick up on this note, but we got to keep an eye on those strikeouts. That's the only reason he hasn't been higher so far, from what I can tell. But and I'll say one more thing. Think about this. People I've been talking to around here, I'm like, you got a base. I have to remind them, like, you guys got a baseball stud from your area, from the city. They don't care. They don't know. Here's the thing. You'll see a guy like some of these Canadians, though, they'll go down to America and they'll go to an American high school, a prep school, and they'll, and that's how, they'll go forward. I mean, the fact that he stayed in Canada and he still got drafted in the second round speaks volumes to what the scouts thought of him. So I'll just leave it on that. And
yeah.
What do y'all think about this fella?
I agree. I'm on board with you, Doc. I really like Caissie. Caissie? How do you say that?
Caissie.
Okay. So I'm on board. I like everything about it, but what you said it. You mentioned the one big bugaboo in the room is that strikeout percentage. He's got to figure it out. Other than that, he's on a rocket ship to the moon. Ross?
No, I agree. I agree completely with everything you guys said. Owen Caissie, big physical guy, hits with power, pretty good all-around numbers. As Doc mentioned, the big concern, the one red flag in this profile is the strikeouts. So And they were pretty high last year, despite pretty good numbers. But we're looking at a guy that was 20 years old last year, 21 this year, for most of the season, 21, 22. But he could be in AAA on the precipice of the major leagues. Just work on making consistent contact, and there you go. You got a major leaguer, and probably one of the better major leaguers for the Chicago Cubs. Third Cubs guy on the list that we've talked about, by the way.
I don't think Wrigley gets talked about enough as a hitter's stadium either. I mean, it's up there. It's if people keep ripping on Bellinger, and his metrics, his power metrics are all down. I'm like, well, he hit 26 last year, so something's happening, and I think part of that was probably the way the wind was blowing at Wrigley. It helps, and if you already have massive power like this guy, I think the future will be a lot of fun to watch him. See how, and he's got something about him, right? You could see them really, building him in there as a cornerstone in the outfield.
So Bellinger hasn't signed anywhere, right? He's still a free agent.
I'd love him to come back to Chicago at this point.
Okay, if he doesn't though, let's just talk about this. We could have Pete Crow Armstrong and Caissie coming up to the bigs next year. That's a fun outfield.
And you got Alcantara knocking on the door, maybe?
Yeah. That's a fun outfield. We got some rooks just playing in the outfield in the Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the arms, Cade Horton and Ben Brown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I mean, it's not like, I was looking at Dansby Swanson today. He's still just 29 years old. I feel like he feels a little older than that. They can. He didn't have the year he had the year before, but I looked at the numbers; they're fine. He's I mean, this is an interesting team, and I'm a Justin Steele believer. I'm a fanatic of him. I think, I'm not like necessarily a Cubs fan or anything, but it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. They're definitely going to be the Chicago team of note for the foreseeable future. So the White Sox got some work to do.
I mean, I think it's been that way for a while. It seems like. Anyway.
I'm a fan of both those players that you just mentioned. Justin Steele, he's obviously on my dynasty team that is legit now. He's the cornerstone on my pitching staff. And I got to say, as far as head game is concerned, Dansby Swanson, that's a good-looking gentleman, man. That's a good-looking fella.
That was an interesting lead-in. I didn't know where
to
go.
So okay, all right.
I'm heterosexual enough to admit when people are good looking. It's a handsome man. It's a handsome man.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're all on board. All three of us.
Yes, sir.
Is he a go get him?
Go get him. Yeah, he's especially a go get him right now. I think there is helium there that's starting to sink in, but it's not completely there yet. I mean, my opinion on him has even changed in the last month or so. I'm like, I'm starting to go through the outfield, prospects. I'm like, I mean, he's up there. He's up there near the top. Yeah. So, yeah. Yep. Get him now. It's going to be way more expensive in spring, I think.
It's not nearly as expensive as you just said. Not nearly as expensive as it will be. Mm-hmm. Now is the time to go get Caissie. Owen Caissie.